Hello, everyone. I'm Golda, and I'm the Library Sales and Marketing Director for Norton. I hope you're all doing as well as you can be. Please feel free to email me with any questions or come visit me in the Norton booth at SLJ Day of Dialogue. I'm putting links to our other Book Buzz videos, recorded events, digital catalogs, and ARCs, and more in the description to this video. And many of our authors are happy to do online events, so please send me an email if you have a proposal and I'll pass it on to the right publicist. I'm going to start with books from our Norton Young Readers imprint. The first few are already available, and then I'll move on to the not yet published titles. Weird, Wild, Amazing is the first children's book by the Australian biologist Tim Flannery. This is perfect for the kid that wants to dip in and out of a book. Flannery offers in-depth and often bizarre facts on animals that live in each habitat while incorporating concepts of climate change, evolution, conservation, and taxonomy. Did you know that lions once roamed North America? Or ever wondered how the sloth got its name? Why is a jellyfish now just called a jelly? Have you ever heard of piranha bark? Packed with vibrant illustrations and guided by real-life experience, Weird, Wild, Amazing uses Flannery's mix of humor and wisdom to teach readers to cherish our planet's environment. Norton Young Readers published Mr. Nogginbody Gets a Hammer last fall, where the naive, ovoid hero of the story learned that you can't use the same tool to fix all of your problems. And now we have the second book, Mr. Nogginbody and the Childish Child. In this one, Mr. Nogginbody is babysitting, and he should not be babysitting. David's usual sense of childish fun and humor is on full display here, and the hammer even makes a cameo appearance. He also makes great use of the page edges in his illustrations. And we posted a video of David Shannon reading Mr. Nogginbody Gets a Hammer on the Norton Young Readers YouTube channel, so check that out if you have a chance. Katie Yamasaki is an artist and former teacher, and she has worked with people of all ages for years to help them tell their stories through murals. Her new book, written with Ian Lendler, Everything Naomi Loved, was inspired by a street in Brooklyn, though the city is not specified in the book. Naomi loves her friends and neighbors on her street and is worried when things start to change and people start moving away. Her neighbor, Mr. Ray, tells her about using art to remember the things we love, and Naomi paints a big mural of all her favorite things about the neighborhood as a way to honor it. So this has themes of resilience and caring for the community, and it is a good book for kids dealing with change, whether it's gentrification in their neighborhood or the more universal change of friends moving away. We have a video introduction to the book on the Norton Young Readers YouTube channel, and you can see more of Katie's work at her website, katieyamasaki.com. Every Night is Pizza Night is by the chef and author of The Food Lab, Kenji Lopez-Alt, and illustrated by Gianna Ruggiero. This came out a few weeks ago and made it on the New York Times bestseller list. Young Pippo thinks that pizza is the best food, and there's no reason to eat anything else. She has even conducted experiments to prove it. Pippo's parents beg her to try other foods, but she will not be swayed until her mother convinces her that she can't really know if pizza is the best food if she won't try anything else. This sets Pippo off on a trip around the neighborhood, cooking with friends and their families from lots of different ethnic and regional backgrounds, and trying all sorts of dishes. And eventually, she realizes that there are a lot of different kinds of best foods. And at the back of the book, we have a kid-friendly pizza recipe from Kenji. What a Lucky Day is a debut picture book by Jashar Awan, which looks at prejudice and stereotypes in a gentle manner. Stork is going fishing, but he runs across a black cat. Oh no, bad luck. He's not going to catch a fish now. The raccoon sees a frog on the pier. Oh no, now he's going to get warts. But when all four animals come together and talk to each other, as this gentle, funny, and thoroughly satisfying picture book makes clear, they see that it's a mistake to judge others too quickly. And then at the back of the book, we have a couple pages explaining some of the origins of the stereotypes. Jashar Awan has also made some coloring and activity pages that we have available to download from our resources page. Moving over to YA fiction, Bearmouth is a darkly atmospheric debut novel about justice, independence, and resistance. It just won the Waterstones Children's Book Prize in the Best Books for Older Readers category, and it received a starred review from Kirkus. The narrator, Newt, is learning how to read and write, so the book is written with a distinctive idiosyncratic style that takes a minute to get used to, but once you get into it, you don't have any trouble understanding it. It's also interesting to see how the spelling and grammar changes as the book goes on, because Newt is learning more. Newt has lived in the mine called Bearmouth since the age of 4 and accepts everything from the harsh working conditions to the brutality of the mine's leaders until the mysterious Devlin arrives and dares to ask the question, why? As tensions rise, Newt is soon looking at Bearmouth with a fresh perspective, challenging the system and setting in motion a chain of events that could destroy their entire world. Student Voice is an essay collection that was curated by the New York Times. Students will find mentor texts written by their peers from 13 to 18 years old on a wide range of topics, including social media, race, video games, lockdown drills, immigration, tackle football, and the Me Too movement. The essays would also appeal to general readers, especially parents, and others interested in the perspective of Generation Z students. This next batch of books comes out in winter 2021. Big Rig Rescue is the new picture book by Chris Gall, author of the Dino Truck series and many other titles. This book introduces readers to the big trucks that help rescue other big trucks, like semi-trucks. When a semi-truck crashes in the snow, Big Orange is ready. With a crane, chains, a webbing strap, outriggers, and a winch, Orange will get the semi back on its wheels. And when the job is too tough to tackle alone, Big Blue is there to help. Together, they get the semi free and upright. But then what happens when Big Orange hits a snowstorm? The end papers of the book will have illustrations similar to a blueprint that will identify all the parts of the truck that are mentioned in the story. Nicky and Vera. Caldecott Award honoree Peter Cease tells the story of Nicholas Winton, who saved the lives of almost 700 children trapped in Nazi-occupied Czechoslovakia, a story that remained unknown until an unforgettable TV appearance in the 1980s reunited him with some of the children he saved, including one named Vera. Peter Cease uses detailed illustrations in a gray palette to represent Nicky's story because he was a quiet person who didn't call attention to himself. But for the bubbly Vera, he uses brighter colors, and Vera kept a diary, which is often extracted in the book. And then on the cover of the book, you can see many of Vera's hopes and dreams represented inside the drawing of the little girl. Nicky and Vera is a masterful tribute to a humble man's courageous efforts to protect Europe's most vulnerable, and a timely portrayal of the hopes and fears of those forced to leave their homes and create new lives. The Old Boat. This is the follow-up to The Old Truck by Jarrett and Jerome Pumphrey, which came out in January and got 7 starred reviews. In The Old Boat, they use the same stamp making technique that they used in their first book, and there are similar themes of family over the generations, along with new themes of environmental awareness. With an eye-catching design and masterfully detailed illustrations, The Old Boat is a wonderful story about caring for the places we call home. And note that we have a read aloud and a stamp making video from the Pumphreys on the Norton Young Readers YouTube channel. The Hatmakers is a debut middle grade fantasy novel by British actress Tamsin Merchant. It's a charming adventure about the importance of bravery, resourcefulness, and following your heart. In Merchant's alternate 18th century London, magic is real and woven into objects created by the 5 maker families. When the enchantments woven into the carefully crafted goods of the guilds begin causing sudden inducements of rage and chaos, Cordelia must find out who is using the maker's creations for dark purposes and uncover the truth about her father's disappearance. And we have digital arcs for this on Edelweiss and NetGalley. Dark Whispers is the second book in a series by Vashti Hardy. The first book, Bright Storm, came out in hardcover this past March and will be released in paperback in January. Dark Whispers expands the world building and adds more depth to the characters while still being full of adventure. The ragtag crew of Captain Harriet Culpepper is off on another adventure. Armitage Wrigglesworth, the notable explorer and author, has been reported missing in Stella Oceanis to the east. Twins Arthur and Maudie are eager to answer the call of adventure to find him. But their old nemesis, Eudora Vane, is also on the hunt. I won't spoil anything for you, but I will say that when Maudie and Arthur get separated, you get to see each of them develop more on their own, and we should have digital arcs of this posted soon. Hunter's Choice by Trent Reedy is a middle grade novel and the first book in a series. 12-year-old Hunter Higgins has been dreaming about his first hunting trip for as long as he can remember. He's taken the classes, earned his license, and become one of the best marksmen in his family. Now he's old enough to join his father, grandfather, and uncle at their cabin for the first weekend of hunting season. There's only one problem. Hunter isn't sure that he can kill an animal. To make things more complicated, when they arrive at the cabin, his cousin Yumi is there with her friend Annette, who Hunter secretly has a crush on. Anxious about the hunt and the humiliation of possibly failing, Hunter grapples with what it means to have the power of life and death in his hands. Author Trent Reedy grew up in rural Iowa, is a U.S. Army vet, and has a lifetime of experience in the outdoors, so he knows what he's talking about. From a Whisper to a Rallying Cry by Paula Yu is a young adult nonfiction title that tells the story of the murder of Vincent Chin in Detroit in 1982, which brought the Asian American community to the streets in protest of injustice. From a Whisper to a Rallying Cry is a searing examination of the killing and the trial and verdicts that followed. When Evans and Nitz pled guilty to manslaughter and received only a $3,000 fine and 3 years probation, the lenient sentence sparked outrage in the Asian American community. This outrage galvanized the Asian American movement and paved the way for a new federal civil rights trial of the case. Extensively researched from court transcripts and interviews with key case witnesses, many speaking for the first time, Paula Yu has crafted a suspenseful, nuanced, and authoritative portrait of a pivotal moment in civil rights history and a man who became a symbol against hatred and racism. If you missed her on the Remaking History panel at SLJ Day of Dialogue, the panels were recorded and you can still go back and watch them. Next, I have 2 books from Thames and Hudson, USA, who have a wide range of books for children, mostly coming from the UK and Europe. Modern Art Explorer from Thames and Hudson is an introduction to modern art for ages 9 and up. There are reproductions of 30 famous pieces of art along with informative commentary about each artist and their work. The starred review from Kirkus called it illuminating. This book becomes a lively tour conducted by a knowledgeable curator. My next 2 books are aimed at middle school level, ages 9 and up. We Are Explorers profiles 14 incredible women explorers who trekked across deserts in search of the source of the Nile, crept through jungles to discover rare butterflies, journeyed into the Arctic, and so much more. Each section has a portrait of the explorer, and the pages are richly illustrated. The author and illustrator Carrie Herbert is herself the daughter of a celebrated polar explorer, and she also wrote We Are Artists, which is available now. So You Want to Be a Knight is the 4th book in a series of illustrated time travel adventures. 3 kids go back in time to learn all about chivalrous glory and heroic quests. The information comes from a series of history books for adults that Thames and Hudson published, but it is presented here in a fun, accessible way. School Library Journal gave the last book a positive review, saying that it would be great for fans of science comics or Nathan Hale's Hazardous Tales. And if you have any families that are looking for support for homeschooling or for supplemental education, you should check out the Well Trained Mind Press. Founded by Susan Wise Bauer, the Well Trained Mind Press has books and audio CDs that can be used as textbooks or for supplemental activities, and a lot of resources on their website for people with all levels of experience in teaching at home. There's never enough time to present everything, and there are a lot more new titles coming from Norton and our distribution clients. You can see more information in our Edelweiss catalogs about each title, including sample illustrations and reviews. I have more Book Buzz videos in our library marketing playlist on YouTube, which you can find linked in the description. Thank you again for listening and for all of your hard work during these difficult times.